How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today I have a subscriber story. This story is of when this subscriber caught his then Twitch streamer girlfriend. He basically caught her doing something that, she didn't want him to know that she was doing. I don't want to spoil it, so you'll just have to watch. If you do enjoy storytime videos, make sure you are subscribed to the channel with notifications on. Also, leave a like, you'll get nothing. Pretty good deal. With that being said, let's jump into the story. This story took place around 2 years ago, and at this point, Twitch wasn't as popular as it is now, but Twitch was really on the upswing, and this subscriber had a girlfriend, and this girlfriend actually gained a bit of a following. She wasn't any, super famous, but she had she netted an average of 30 to 40 to 50 viewers, which, if you don't know, for Twitch standards is small, but it's still pretty, it means you have a following, right? You're not going to go on Twitch and consistently get 30, 40, 50 viewers by accident. It means you got a bit of a following. So she was known at the school as the Twitch girl. And the subscriber started dating her before she, got popular on Twitch. He actually started dating her when she started. And he had always been a pretty big supporter. Even when she was getting 2 viewers, he was always one of those 2 viewers. So he was always he was supporting from day one. And he honestly didn't care if she was popular or not. And for the longest time, her Twitch streams didn't really work. And a lot of people at the school were kind of talking behind her back about it, because they're like, oh, she's spending all this time being trying to be a streamer or whatever. Haha, that's so funny. She's not making it. She's not going to make it. Everyone was kind of hating on her behind her back, but her boyfriend, who is the biggest supporter and the subscriber who gave this story, had always been really supportive. So this girl was never really that popular. She always had some friends, but especially in the younger grades. This kid wasn't in 5th grade or anything, but this was a high school student. So especially in high school, unfortunately, it's really cliquey, and it's nothing really like a lot of the real world. But there are a lot of oh, if you're not popular, you can't hang out with us, kind of a lot of arbitrary rules. It's kind of dumb. And when you leave high school, you kind of look back at it and you're like, wow, that was really stupid. I should have just hanged out, Jesus. I should have just hung out with people I liked, people that I genuinely enjoyed spending time with. But, no, you live and you learn. That's the thing. You live and you learn. But anyways, while they're dating, this girl actually begins to gain a bit of a following. And she never really gets past 40, 50 consistent viewers. But the thing is, 40 to 50 consistent viewers on Twitch, especially, even on YouTube, that'd be pretty impressive. But especially on Twitch, that's a really big deal. That means you actually have a consistent audience that watches you. So she would play games or just react to chat or watch videos, typical Twitch stuff or whatever. But people at her school began to notice her new following. And, the people who never really gave her the time of day or weren't really nice to her, all of a sudden, as she became more and more popular, they started to be nice to her. And as she became more and more popular, they actually invited her to sit with them at lunch, invited her to do things with the kind of the popular clique of girls. I guess they wanted a kind of an LA influencer, follower, a lot of clout type thing. And they're yeah, we could use one of those in our popular group or whatever. So in the beginning, this kind of clique of girls would start inviting the subscriber's girlfriend to oh, you can, come sit lunch with us, come talk with us. And the girlfriend would come back to the subscriber and be oh my God, they're so shallow. It's so funny. I love the conversations, because it's just wow, how can anyone hang out with them? And the subscriber's to be fair, girlfriend or Twitch girlfriend, I don't really feel like giving her a name, you do always hang out with them when they ask. And she said, yeah, it's just because it's really funny. And as time went on, she didn't just hang out with them at lunch. They also invited her to hang out with them after, on the weekends, or maybe at night on a Friday or a Thursday or something, especially if they didn't have any big assignments or something like that. And she started really hanging out with this group exclusively. And while she didn't necessarily dip her old friends entirely, obviously you only have so much time in the day. And it's not like she avoided hanging out with her old friends in class, or if she had a class with them, or if they came up to her. But she really didn't make the effort anymore, as she was spending a lot of time with this new group of girls. And the boyfriend eventually did point that out. He was kind of just I mean, you hated these girls just a second ago. And she's you know what? They're really not that bad. Yeah, I was hating on them for a while, but if I'm being honest, I actually do enjoy spending time with them. And I'm happy that we're hanging out. And, eventually the boyfriend decides to point out the obvious, and he's have you ever just thought that they're hanging out with you because, you're popular? And she's no, that's definitely not the case. Deep down, she definitely knew, because there was a very obvious correlation between her follower growth increasing and, them actually wanting to hang out with her, especially since before that they wouldn't even talk to her. Like, they wouldn't be mean to her, but they wouldn't even give her the time of day, if I'm being honest. So anyways, right, the girlfriend, takes that okay, but is like, no, 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 they really do like me, and I really do like them. And the truth is, maybe she really did like them. I think she kind of just, like, if the subscriber kind of said that, like, he probably thinks it's just, and I probably agree with them, that she kind of just liked the fact that, after you were, like, not the unpopular, but the one who, like, wasn't super popular, then all of a sudden, the people who you were never able to hang out with are really actively trying to hang out with you, even if it's for, like, reasons that, you kind of question, is like, do they actually like me, or do they like the idea of hanging out with me because of my followers? Sometimes you just, like, will try that out just because, it feels nice, or at least you think it does. Anyways, right, so, time goes on, and she's spending more and more time with these girls, and the boyfriend, like, is like, what, that's fine, whatever. She can have whatever friend she wants. I'm not gonna be one of those guys who's like, oh, you can't hang out with these people. Like, those people can be kind of jerks sometimes. So he didn't want to be one of those guys for sure, right? And then, he noticed that, like, that there were some guys that were hanging out with his girlfriend now, but they were always hanging out with her when she was with the popular girls. And he kind of casually asked, he's like, oh, who's, like, I see you're hanging out with Brad. I think Brad is just the perfect name. No offense to any Brads watching this video. Yeah, but it is kind of like Chad and Brad is kind of like a stereotypical name for certain attributes. And, it just fits it so well. So he's like, okay, why you hang out with Brad? Not like interrogating her or anything, but just kind of kept questioning, like, oh, I didn't know you were hanging out with Brad now. And she said, yeah, Brad's really good friends with insert popular girls, right? Oh, like, he just hangs out with them. And since I hang out with the popular girls, he hangs out with me too. The girlfriend then says something about how they're all going to hang out this weekend at one of the popular girls' house. And there's like a bit of a party or whatever. And the thing is, the boyfriend now thinks, oh, like, I didn't know that, like, guys were hanging out in that group or could go do things with them. Like, he'd been kind of missing spending time with his girlfriend because she'd been spending all this time with, like, the quote-unquote popular girls. But now the fact that, like, other guys were kind of hanging out in that mix, he was like, oh, can I come this weekend? I didn't know, like, guys were hanging out too. Like, I didn't know that that was a thing. And, maybe I could come hang out with you guys as well. So her response to this, which I'm going to tell you in a second, was the first kind of big red flag for the subscriber. But I'm going to interrupt this video real quick and ask you guys comment door down below. I always have like a random secret word I ask you guys to comment if you make it so like far into the video, normally around a little more than halfway through. I just like to see who watches my videos all the way, as I do appreciate it. The watch time's always good for the channel. Also, I try and heart as many of those comments as I physically can. So if you want to get top commenter and farm some hearts, just comment the secret phrase of the day, which is door, like the thing you enter a building with, like DOOR. Anyways, back to the story. So when the subscriber asks, and just a little recap, this girl is hanging out with the popular girls as well as this guy Brad and maybe some other people this weekend at one of the popular girls' house as she's throwing like a party type thing. And she says that she's going, and she says that like the popular girls and Brad will be there. And the boyfriend thinks, oh, maybe I can come too, because like he wasn't sure if it's a girls only thing. But obviously, since the guy is hanging out there as well, like it's not girls only. So when he asks, the girlfriend responds like kind of like weirdly, like, oh, like I don't know, maybe like I'll ask, like totally if there's like if they allow it. It's just not my house. Yeah, I'll get back to you, which is in general a totally valid response. Like, it's not your party, you should always ask. But, the way that she responded just kind of rubbed the boyfriend / the subscriber the wrong way. So he's like, oh, okay, that's fine. Just get back to me, right? I'd love to know. So anyways, right, the weekend rolls around, or Friday comes, she doesn't say anything. The weekend eventually comes, and he sends her a text like, hey, like, did you get a word back? And after, like, unfortunately, she forgot that she had her red receipts on. So she sees it, and she responds like an hour later. She didn't realize that the red receipts were on. But anyways, the boyfriend sees that she sees it and doesn't respond for a while, and then responds back being like, hey, sorry, they're like max capacity. They can't invite anyone else. If you want to know a thing or two about parties, it's never max capacity. That just means you can't go. I'm just keeping it real with you guys. No, but anyways, the boyfriend was like a little disappointed and also a little bit suspicious, but he didn't really think anything of it. Right? So the day goes on and the party is at like 10 that night. And he's talking with one of his friends who's like, he hangs out with a little bit. He's known him, like, he got to know him in class. And he's only, like, just now starting to become, like, really good friends. So anyways, right, he asks him what he's doing that night because he might want to, like, hang out. And the friend that he just met, the subscriber, just want to remind you guys, the subscriber is talking to this friend that he met in class and he's now kind of good friends with. He asks him what he's doing that night, maybe if he wants to hang out. And this new friend says, oh, I'm going to a party at the popular girl's house. And he's like, oh, yeah, my girlfriend's going there. Like, she said, like, there wasn't enough room. And the dude's like, I know a guy there, like, I'll get you in, no problem. So instead of telling his girlfriend that he was showing up, he wanted to kind of, like, surprise her and, like run into her and be like, guess who made it? Guess who got it in? Because at this point, he still genuinely thought, like, he was, like, a part of him was suspicious. And in retrospect, it was very suspicious, right? But at the time, he still kind of thought, like, that she genuinely couldn't get him in and that, she would be so happy to see him there, right? So he shows up to this new friend's house, and the dude's like, okay, hop in my car, right? And they drive over and they get to the party and they get to the house. And when they get to the door, some guys are at the door. He's like, hey, like, who do you know here? And the friend says, oh, I'm friends with so-and-so. And I asked if I could bring a +1, and they said that's totally fine. That was a bit of a red flag to the subscriber because he kind of got word that there wasn't room, but he said, it's okay. Some people might think that, like, it's okay. Some people might not think it's okay. And, like, maybe I just got lucky, right? So they make it their way into the party, and the subscriber's looking around for his girlfriend because he doesn't want to surprise her, right? And he just can't find her at the party. And he sees, like, the popular girls. He sees some of his other friends. He sees some people he recognizes in class. And he kind of just, like, walks around the party. He can't really find anything. And he's just like, okay, like, I have to go pee. Like, drank a lot of, like, Coke or whatever before. And, like, I don't even know. Like, he just had to go to the bathroom. Maybe just want to, like, freshen up or something. So, right, he gets to the bathroom. And while the door is closed, it's unlocked, and he's not really thinking that much because normally if you just kind of like go on autopilot, you'll go through the motions. And if someone was in there, right, they'd lock the door and he'd just like, he'd try and open it and it wouldn't work, right? So he opens the door, he walks in, but when he's opening the door on like about like 70% of the way through the swing, it hits these people, and he looks up and his heart just drops. It's his girlfriend and Brad, and they were obviously just making out like a second ago. No other answer. Like, just the position they were in. I'm not going to get into detail, but and he just closed the door. He ran downstairs, and like he went up to his friend. He's like, I just saw my girlfriend cheating on me. And this new friend's like, oh my God, like that's so sorry. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, I get it if you don't want to be here. I'm your ride. If you want me to take you back, it's really no big deal. And he's like, man, I'm so sorry, but yeah, can I just go home? He's like, yeah, no problem, 100%. The subscriber is kind of heartbroken at this time, and he checks his phone, and there's like 3 missed calls from the girlfriend, a bunch of text messages that he doesn't even read at the time because like he has to like open his phone to actually read them with like Face ID. He doesn't even look at his phone. He's just staring out the window. Like, people are in the car talking because he's like a ride for other people too. They just kind of like blur in the background. He gets back home. He brushes his teeth, goes into bed, and just falls asleep. The next day, he wakes up to something, somehow like another just, punch in the gut. Like, this is like the last night wasn't bad enough. It gets worse. The girlfriend ends up breaking up with him over text, saying that like he's been distant recently and that it's just not going to work out. And he's now getting mad. He's like understandably mad. So he responds with the game pigeon, like, want to play pool, just because he's trolling. He's not taking this serious. He's like, okay, I don't know what happened to this girl. She was so great. Something obviously like got with her or something. I don't know what happened. Understandably, he's upset. Unfortunately, this doesn't have some great epic ending. It really kind of just ends like that. I mean, there's a little bit more, so it's like the ending is a little bit nicer, but that's the majority of it. So they break up, and they're done with. This Twitch girl, her Twitch account really doesn't take off. A couple weeks after this whole thing happens, her average viewers drop from like 40 to 60 to like 10 to 15 because she has not been consistently streaming at all because of like all the time she's spending with her new friends. And she finds, and the boyfriend kind of, or the ex-boyfriend at this point, or the subscriber who sent in the story, notices she starts hanging out with these girls less. And he has the theory, he doesn't know this 100%, but he has the theory that because her viewership dropped, it's not that she wanted to hang out with these popular girls less, it's that they've been starting to invite her to less things because they don't really see like the utility of being friends. High school is messed up, man. And honestly, I'm sorry to this subscriber. Like, I'm sorry, bro. Thank you for the good story, though. And if you guys have interesting stories, submit them to my Instagram. It's in the description. Also, guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you did enjoy. If you want to support the channel, just go ahead and watch another story video. Watching all the story videos really does boost the channel, and if you got nothing better to do, might as well. Also, an easy way to do this is just to watch the Storytime playlist. It is first link in the description. See you in the next one. Peace.